one of my favorite. I was fucking with RFK tough when he was running his third-party campaign because I just liked his perspective on a lot of things. You had my favorite interview with him.
I appreciate it.
It was dope. I think it was like 3 hours.
Yeah.
It was really long. I saw you just tweet yesterday or the day before you tweeted the Make America Healthy Again.
Yeah.
I fuck with RFK. What are your thoughts on? Because I look at the Trump thing as like you got to kind of like take the wins, and it's like, well, if RFK is the, I feel like he's a genuine guy. He's a very interesting guy. He's had an interesting past for sure. But you sat with him for a while. Like, what are your thoughts on him and being a part of, I guess, kind of making that decision to?
Right. I think it's very interesting. I think his goal was to strategically put himself in position to leverage that influence that he had as he was creating a base while he was running for president, whether he was going to talk to Kamala or whether he was going to be talking to Trump.
And Kamala, I think, declined.
Yeah, and he declined. I believe Trump had been asking him before to come with him, and I believe he was declining at the time. And then he realized that, okay, well, if the Democrats are not going to have me at all, they're not even going to speak to me.
I mean, and they were actively weaponizing like everything they could against him.
Yeah, and when we sit down, it's interesting because, again, going back to high-level conversations, society is not used to critical thinking and independent thinking. And
or nuanced thinking. Resource. Yeah.
So they weaponize statements that he said, right? And when you go look at a lot of those people in Congress and those politicians who speak, of course they are funded by Big Pharma, right? And if America is a very unhealthy place already, you will want radical change. The last person they had in there doesn't look like somebody who should be held in a health department whatsoever.
For sure.
I think you should, number one, have to be healthy to run a health department.
Fair enough.
That's a key.
Because it was the trans.
Yeah, the I don't know what it was, but it was a transformer without Shea LaBeouf. It was different, and I think that the goal should be, how do we disrupt this industry? Yeah. Big Pharma got so much power, and they in so many people's pockets that these politicians can't think for themselves if they wanted to. They puppets. The things that they were talking about against him, Robert F. Kennedy met with the Nation of Islam and he gave high praises to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, which is a rare thing, right? Most black politicians will never even do that.
Facts.
Because you get some respect from me automatically when you working with the FBI. I mean, not the FBI, the FOI.
Right.
In Los Angeles, right? To get information about the research behind these vaccines and what's possibly in them. Then, of course, there's just the research about all these artificial ingredients and chemicals that we intake. Then we have, of course, we are the most susceptible population, black people. We have, specifically black men, have the highest number when it comes to cancer and heart disease and blood pressure and depression and suicide and all these things. So you should want to see a radical change first. All right, that means there should be a war on these things. American people should be, this is, to me, the most important campaign out of all of them, right? Make America healthy. Now, I don't think that all of these departments are truly aligned and want, of course, Robert F. Kennedy to be in there because it would be the most radical thing that comes out of
for
this.
sure.
It disrupts the hell out the money.
Yes.
But he said some things that black people have been saying for a long time. He said that our immune systems are better. Now, this is what we like to always believe anyway. But it was funny because that became the hot topic. Like, this man lost his mind. But he was citing a study from Poland. And Poland does more studies than most places. I think they like number 8 in the world. But the funny thing is, people will say, well, 99% of our genome is the same. But it's the 0.1% that is a lot, right? It goes from bone density. It goes to fast twitch muscle response. You feel me? It even goes to our response to medications and things of that nature. So there's a lot of truth to what he was saying as far as our immune system, our neuromelanin, our melanin. So I would like to see scientists refute him, not politicians. Yeah,
that's the thing is like, it felt more of like a, especially like when I saw the Bernie thing, because I love Bernie, Bernie's somebody who...
Bernie be capping too. Bernie be faking, man.
Well, he I mean, I would say the last 4 years have been disappointing with some of his voting sides, but in terms of like...
Bernie is definitely on the Zionist side too.
The RFK side, right? It's like...
And RFK is Zionist too.
He is, for sure.
I asked him about that for sure.
Yes. Oh, man. But it was interesting to see that confirmation, and I'm like, yo, like, y'all are really just barking down on this fool, despite you guys not, like, you guys are like Democrats should be, in theory, aligned with most of the things he says, but he's on the other side now.
Yeah. Well, see, I think they don't care about the American people. They care about winning this war of power.
Yep.
Right? So even if Trump did something they agree with,
they'll never, ever
they will never tell you. And this is my problem with both sides. When Trump does something, I don't care if you are in the MAGA code. If he does something you don't agree with and you can't speak out, right? That makes you a slave.
Yep.
That makes you weak-minded.
Yes.
Right? I respect those that say, I voted for the guy, but I don't respect what he did with this.
Right.
And that's where you see the nuance of a person that can actually think. But beyond that, that's dangerous. You feel me? And it's weak-minded. So I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat. If you can't point out good when it's good or bad when it's bad, that's not good for the people.
You're a cult member.
And when Donald Trump comes out there and say stuff like it's DEI and what you want me to do, swim in the water, and when he talk about meeting with the people.
Oh, when they're talking about going to the crash site.
What it really does is it makes people less empathetic. See, a good leader makes people more human. Right? You do those things not because you want to, not even for the logic of it. It's so that you exemplar humanity. Right. So we treat each other with that same respect and dignity and honor and empathy as well. And so this is what I'm seeing in leadership. I'm seeing a lack of that completely.
And it's been that way for years.
Pushing contempt and conflict amongst their bases, which is inciting more civil war.
Yeah, like the lack of, actually it's not even a lack. There was zero Palestinian representation at the DNC, which I believe was 4 days. And it was like you said, empathy, humanity. It's like, how is there
Well, all of the activists, they decided to be quiet during the campaign of Kamala Harris because they believed she was going to get in there and possibly do something, even though, her husband is Jewish. I don't see if she was going to do anything. She constantly said, I'm not changing nothing, no matter who's going to be president.
Nonstop.
What they did is, you can't be revolutionary in one moment. But now I'm political, right? Now I'm not going to say nothing. If you can't hold feet to the fire of the person, because the way you vote radically is that you put the person that you're more equipped to fight in office, right? And then once they get in office, you fight them, right, to keep their promise to you.
Right.
And people forget that relationship with politicians. So if you voted for Donald Trump, it doesn't mean you now bow down to him. You now have to fight him to keep his promises that you were aligned with when he ran. And that is regardless of what kind of leadership, whether it was Kamala or him, it would have been the same fight to keep that politician aligned with the things that you align with. Or the people have to have an or else.